Let's make a quick menu cover in InDesign. So you'll notice that I'm at pexels.com, Pexels.com. This is a great place for free stock photos. I'm going to be doing Maxwell's, so let's find a picture of a steak. Preferably one that looks like it's cooked. This one is great. So you'll notice I've already downloaded it right here. So I am going to go into InDesign, close out a document I was working on, and I'm going to create a new document. It's going to be 8.5 by 11, 2 pages. Make sure you are on inches. Make sure you do not have facing pages checked. Now, you may want to save yourself some time and set this up as 3 columns. It should have a 1/2 inch margin all the way around, and when you get down to bleed and slug, put in 0.125 and then tab over so it adds those in and click create. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is grab your rectangle frame tool. Or if you haven't already, make sure that you are in Essentials Classic up here in the right-hand corner so your screen looks like mine. And I'll actually reset my Essentials Classic so it looks like yours. Again, we're going to use the rectangle frame tool, and we're going to go from the red outline right here all the way to red outline because we want our image to extend to the bleed. We're going to go and do a file, place, and find your image that you have downloaded. Click on it and press open. And you'll notice if you get it from pexels.com, it's rather large. So let's go to Object, Fitting, and we want to fill the frame proportionally. So it goes from edge to edge of the frame, but the photo is placed nice and proportionally in the frame. Next, I'm going to add in the logo. Now the logo needs to remain within the margin. That is this pink line that goes on the inside. So again, I'm going to go to my rectangle frame tool, and I want to find a place. Think of every menu you've ever seen. The name of the restaurant's nice and prominent, right? So I'm going to place it right in the middle here. And again, File, Place. I'm going to grab my Maxwell's logo. And this time I'm going to go to Object, Fitting, and I want to fit the content to my frame. Whoops, wrong one, sorry. Object, Fitting, fit content proportionally. There we go. You can see the difference when it was not scaled proportionally. So then the next thing that you're going to need to do is look to the documents that you downloaded, which are the Maxwell's documents. And I'll just re-download them in case if you are wondering where to find them. You can find them in week 1 or week 2. It might be easier for you to find them by going directly into week 1. And we'll open that up. And I just want to grab the menu cover text. This is the information that needs to go on the menu cover. I need the logo. I need to have fine steaks and seafood. That goes with the logo. So let's go back in. And I'm going to go to my type tool, and I need to manually draw a text box in order to put text on the page. So again, I'm going to maybe put this right here. I'm going to paste in the text. I'm not going to worry about the font yet. Go back into Word, and I'm going to grab the address and the phone number. Just the address and the phone number. I'm going to copy it. And again, draw another text box. And I'm going to nestle that down in here, spanning the 2 columns. And then I'm last going to grab the hours. And actually, I'll plop the hours right underneath. And I'm going to remove this return right here. And I'm going to move close Sunday up here and just put a line in between. And I'll add a return in. There we go. All right, so Maxwell's has a nice serif font, and I'm not exactly sure what the serif font is, but it's a fancy place. So I'm going to right align this. So with my text selected, going to right align, and I can start to look through some of my fonts. And again, fancy restaurant. So I want to make sure that I'm using an easy to read, but also fancy font to go with it. Kind of like this one. But at this size, way too hard to read, which you can see. So I'm going to make it larger. And maybe just move it down a little bit away from the logo. And then I'm just going to expand this text box a little bit. And because it's a menu cover, they've already made it to the restaurant, so I know that they know where we're located. I'm just going to change the Mini and Pro to another serif font. You can see I've sorted it. I'm going to change it to Baskerville. I just think it's a better drawn serif font. And I'm just going to select just the phone number. Make the phone number a little bit bigger. And go just like that. And I'm going to save my document. Making sure I'm in mod 1. And grab the correct. Now this will be for week 2 because we're going to do week 1 and week 2 together right now. So we can grab DES 105. We're just going to have to change the 1 to a 2. And save. Great, we have a menu cover done. All right, next, let's draw 3 text boxes. 1, and you'll see I'm going from column to column. 2, 3. And let's go in and grab our Maxwell's menu text. This is what's going to be on page 2. And I just want you to select everything. Just copy and paste everything in to this first text box right here. And you'll notice it runs off the side. So let's go to our black arrow tool. Make sure that text box is selected. And we're going to click on that plus sign. And see how it shows a lock with the text? We're going to click on the next text box. And it moves it over. Perfect. So this is where you have a decision where you can say, should I make things a little bit bigger or should I go to a 2-column design? It might actually be a little bit easier with Maxwell's to just go to a 2-column design. So let's delete that third text box. We're going to go up to Layout, Margins and Columns. And we're going to change the number of columns to 2, but let's change our gutter to 0.25 and click OK. So now we can grab that second text box, again with our black arrow tool, and just expand it. Grab this text box and expand it. And see how the text is flowing back and forth between them? Works great, right? So now what we want to do is we want to open up our styles panel. So we're going to go to Window, Styles, whoops, and go to Paragraph Styles and open those up. And we're going to need 3 different paragraph styles. A heading, a subheading, we'll say, which would be our prices, and we need body copy. So let's look at the body copy first. And here's where we're going to look. Right here, this font right here, Baskerville Regular. And we're going to say plus on the paragraph style. See how I have that selected right there? Plus. And then I'm going to go down here and just put my cursor into this text box because I don't want to mess up anything. I'm going to double click next to paragraph style. I'm going to name it body. And under basic character formats, I want to make sure it's still Baskerville Regular. And I'm just going to leave it at that for now. And I'm going to do a Command A or select all with my text in my text box, my text tool selected inside my text box. I'm going to click on body copy. And look at what it did. It changed the font throughout the whole thing to match the font on my front page. Perfect. Well, now I need a heading, right? For beginnings and desserts and everything else. I'm going to look to this font right here. So again, with my text tool just inside of that text box, I'm going to hit plus, and I'll go back down. And I don't even need to be in. I'm just going to click off to the side. I'm going to double click, and this is going to be my headline. And just double check that things look right. They do. But I want it to be centered, so I'm going to go to indents and spacing, and I'm going to say center this, and hit OK. And I'm going to double click on the word beginnings, and click on headline. Perfect. And from the C, select it, make that a headline, USDA prime beef, make it a headline, specialties, make it a headline, and endings, make it a headline. Next, what I need is I need to have the price point, let's say, be a different price. In order to do this efficiently, I am going to put the price point on a separate line so I don't need tabs and leaders. And I want the price point to be kind of similar to the headline, just a smaller font size. And now that I'm looking at it, I think I want my body copy to be centered too. So I'm going to go to body copy. Whoops. Make sure I'm not clicked in the beginnings. I'm going to just double click, go to indents and spacing, and change it to centered. And that's going to fix that. And we'll deal with this in a moment. So I want to manually go through and just hit enter after each of the prices now. One, two, three, 4 steaks. These are some expensive steaks. And we'll deal with the specialties as well, getting that all on the right line. Again, we'll fix these little things after. All right, so with my cursor selecting the 14, I'm going to click on headline, and you can see how that's just way too big. And I'm going to click on the plus style and double click. So what this is going to do is this is going to base this off of my headline because I want it to have the same font. I just want to bring the font size down. So let's see. what a more manageable size might be. Maybe 20 point type. So I'm going to hit OK. And then I can go through and select each of the prices. Whoop, I forgot to rename it. I'm going to rename it. Prices. And just attach that style. And last one. Oops. Fancy restaurant with fancy restaurant prices, right? All right. So next, I still need to fix this part. And you can see where this is happening a lot. So I'm going to put my cursor in beginnings and I'm going to go to headline again, double click. And I want to go to indents and spacing and I want to say space after. And make sure you have the preview checked so you can keep an eye on what's going on. And I'm just going to move it to 0.187, which gives it some room. And I'm going to say, okay. And for this one, I want to remove some of the leading in between that line. So I'm going to go to prices. And let's bring leading up a little to let's bring it up to 23. And let's make one more style. It's just going to be italics. And it's going to be for the explanation of each of them. So I'm going to make new style. I'm going to name it italics. Under character formats, change it to italic. And I'm going to bring this up to be 4-point type, which I know seems kind of crazy, but it's going to work. We'll hit OK. And then I'm going to grab each of these. So this one I'm going to have to manually fix though. Anything that's 2 lines, I'm going to have to manually fix to be 12-point type. And again, it's just keeping an eye on what's going on the page. And you can remove if there's any extra returns that you feel that you don't really need. You can remove them. All right, so let's have a quick look. Anywhere that you see that there's a word that, hasn't, I want to leave that alone on the one line. So I'm going to move mashed potatoes down. I'm just doing a return, again, to make it look nicer. Okay. And let's see. Move some returns here. And we can start to add in some of our images to bump, prime beef to the next line, or we might just need to, for the prime beef, move the prices up onto the line before, which might just fix that a little bit. And move specialties down. So we need to add in some images. And again, these are in your download. So we have a cake, we have some shrimp, and we have a steak. And let's put them in the appropriate places. So from the sea, I want to do some shrimp in there because that makes sense, right? So let's manually move with the pan-seared or whatever it says to the next line. Oops. And let's draw our rectangle frame tool right here. And it looks like, hey, that's going to be on top of the text. Don't worry, I'm going to show you a trick. Let's do File, Place. Where did I put you guys? Grab my shrimp. And again, I want to go to Object, Fitting. I want to fill the frame proportionally. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this selected and I want to go to Window, Text Wrap. I'm going to tell the text to wrap around this image. I'm just going to click this button right here. Boom, and it moves it over. Perfect, right? So let's do the same thing down here with the steak. Let's draw a box for our steak right here. Do File, Place, and we'll grab our steak. And we'll go to Object, Fitting, and we'll fill the frame proportionally. And then with our black arrow tool, make sure that's selected. And we'll click right here, wrap around the bounding box. Boom, moves those ones over. Pretty cool. Now we can put our dessert right down here at the bottom and we'll be done. Draw our rectangle frame tool. File, Place, grab our cake, and again, Object, Fitting, fill the frame proportionally. Perfect. Let's save this and package it and make a PDF. So the first thing that you want to do is do a File, Package. It's going to show an error because we didn't make the images RGB. That is okay for today. Click the Package button. Make sure that you are in the right folder. Now, if you haven't already, go in and make a preset for marks and bleeds. I have shared a video on how to do this, and then you would just make a new PDF with marks and bleeds. If you're a little bit confused right now, uncheck Include PDF Print and just hit the Package button. Okay? It depends on how far along you've gotten with my videos. I'm going to include it. And for those of you who haven't included it, I will show you right now how to make the PDF. So to make the PDF with marks and bleeds, if you didn't have it included, File, Adobe PDF Presets, and we're just going to go to High Quality Print and look for the folder that you just created. So mine's in DES 105, week 4, and here it is right here. DES 105 assignment, and I am going to hit save. This is going to ask me if I want to replace it because I already have a PDF in there. So I'm going to click replace. Now, it's going to open up this dialog box. Under marks and bleeds, you want to make sure that you have all printer marks, use document bleed settings, and click export. Now your PDF file will be in there. So we can go and find our file that we just made. Here it is, DES 105, assignment 2, S. McNamara folder. If you have a 2-button mouse, you're going to right click and compress. If you have a 1-button mouse, you're going to hold down Control and click and hit compress. That's going to make your zip file. You need to submit this zip file. Submit it to week 2. You can also submit it to week 1 and you will get at least a few points for having the one menu cover done correctly.